What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and this is your NFL Week 15 betting preview. Today, we're going to build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey. Rough week overall for me, so thanks for carrying with a couple wins. Disappointed you didn't get the Chiefs to come home for us, too. You would have got the sweep, but nevertheless, I'm 0-4. So I have just a complete face plant. So I appreciate you putting some wins up there.
I mean, it was just a couple lucky breaks in the week. I haven't getting any breaks the entire season. That's a lot of times what it comes down to. You get the Rams game was crazy. I mean, Stafford was unbelievable, but get a block punt for a touchdown there, which helped. And then the Giants, I mean, they were outplayed and they had injuries during the game, and I get my first 2-point conversion, and I was 0 of 6 on the six pack on games that were decided by the 2-point conversion.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was the one. The Giants did it to me against the Steelers. It was the worst 2-point conversion play call of all time, and that would have covered. This one might have been even worse. Ball tips up in the air, and Neighbors somehow catches it at the goal line, and the Giants get in the back door. So that was a bit fortunate. And then
And now Tommy DeVito starting next week. Drew Lock is gone. He's out. He's
he did his
vanquished.
job for me. But yeah, that game was ugly. I told you the Giants were due for an interception. I saw you
Oh
bet.
my God. Yeah, I know. I did hit like 4 other props in that game, and
I
I
saw
had
you.
like
Yeah.
I had a
Were you
Ken
hearing
Gray.
my voice though when Carr threw the pick?
Yeah, I was like, I knew it. This same thing happened to me. Wasn't it in the playoffs with Lamar Jackson? He like threw a pick for the first time. But I will say this: I finally, 8 months later, hit a Gus Edwards rushing carries over against the Chiefs prop. He just is on a different team now.
by half carry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Oh
Chiefs was
man.
disappointing. I mean, up 13-0. I, I got a good line. There's no McConkey, as I thought. But where I was wrong on that game is that Humphreys didn't was I was reading all these glowing reports about how he was going to make a huge difference and how well he looked, but he's been out for so long. He didn't solve anything. I think he allowed 5 or 6 pressures, and then he gets hurt. It was late. It didn't, but that's where I was wrong on that game. But the Chiefs, I mean, it's never going to change. And the black magic this team has. I mean, every
The
single
doink.
week,
A
this
doink in.
team on the last play of the game, something goes their way to win by 2 points. They win every game by 2 points. So yeah, it was a good week. We got some good
Unreal.
breaks. Let's hopefully that can continue, and hopefully I can get hot the rest of the way.
Yeah. So we'll get into the six pack. We'll start with Thursday Night Football, though, as we always do. And it is a good matchup this week. We have the Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about being wrong on a game. The Bears just didn't show up. All that good effort just completely vanished, gone. 49ers back to normal. Don't need Trent Williams. But now you're looking at a situation where, and Stuck, I'm really curious to your thoughts on this because the minute I looked at this game, it was like, old habits die young. It was like, bet the Niners, like Niners Rams week, bet the Niners. And the public is all over the Rams. 78% of bets, 79% of money tracked by us in the Action Network app coming in on the Rams here. So what's your kind of handicap on this game, given, these teams aren't exactly the same ones as the one that, just used to kick the Rams ass every year with Shanahan and that run game, but not completely different either.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers have revenge from a game earlier this season when they were up big and blew the game. Just happened a lot to them last, and I think they were 6.5-point favorites at LA. Not huge home field swings here in this game, but the Rams didn't have Kupp or Nakua in that game, and they came back to win. 49ers were obviously much healthier at the time. This game, I lean 49ers. It looks like they have rallied. And look, they were getting so unlucky. Red zone, close games, blown leads, like you name it. And look who they lost to this year. I mean, they lost to all like playoff teams uh, for the most part. And so it looks like they found something. I need to see the injury report. So I lean 49ers. I make this slightly over a field goal, but yeah, Trent Williams, he didn't practice. I mean, they were able to do whatever they wanted
Yeah.
without him last week, but obviously it would help. He's one of the best tackles. Bosa, and then who? I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this because this is more your wheelhouse than mine. Garendo, if he doesn't go, and he looked good last week. I thought he ran well in that scheme, had better vision than I've seen from him in the past. If he doesn't play, he's highly questionable, says he wants to play. Then it's down to Patrick Taylor. Like, how much you're down to your fourth string running back? How much of is it his scheme? How much, like, what type of drop off can we expect? Because this Rams defense is trending in the wrong direction. You can run on them. Um, and I thought Purdy looked good. I was worried about his health, but I thought he looked good last week. So I lean 49ers, need more clarity on the injury report. And that Rams offensive explosion last week was kind of coming. Wrote that game up. They were like 23% on third downs the previous three games. They were just running so bad on third downs. It's one of the things that I like to look at, like market perception of certain teams over like a 3 to 4 game stretch. If an offense looks bad or offense looks really good, a lot of times it's late down variance. And the Rams were running as bad as anybody on third downs the previous 3 games. And then they were like, they couldn't miss on a third or fourth down that entire game against the Bills.
Unreal. That was just like
Um,
amazing game. Like that game and the Jets Dolphins game. I don't think I saw a stop in the entire game. Like it's just like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown,
I
touchdown.
think the Rams Bills first game in NFL history, both teams scored over 40 with no turnovers. Stafford was like 0.78 EPA per play, which is silly. So yeah, I don't think the offense will look as good this week, but I just need more clarity on the injury report. Lean 49ers. Think the line has moved out to 3, which is where I think it should be. I'm actually a little bit higher, but nothing as of right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really this 49ers team is just tough for me to handicap because like there's certain things like okay, like I'll adjust for Trent Williams, but then who is it? Moore, comes in and he's just doing the same thing and they don't miss a beat. And now, like you said, this Rams defense, it's not great. It could definitely be had, especially and this 49ers team kind of specializes in that. I don't know if I have the numbers in front of me, but I know like Shanahan versus McVay. I do have it. So that's 10-6 now. So he
Yeah,
must
he's
have caught
covered
up some
three.
ground.
McVay's covered 3 straight.
Oh, because he's a comeback, and then I guess what the 2 last year.
Yeah.
Okay, but at one point, I mean, it was like 9-2 or something crazy like that. So it has evened out a little bit. Yeah, 3 straight for McVay, but Shanahan's still covering 10-6, 62.5% by an average of 4.1 points per game. So I mean, I don't know if you take anything from it now that it's been three in a row, but I do think this I do lean Niners as well, but it's kind of I don't know if it's like a bias though. Is it just our bias from the Niners kind of manhandling them earlier? Because I, I don't I still don't believe this team is at full strength. I know what they did to the Bears last week, but I like they're just missing so many pieces, and it's like guys haven't practiced. It's a short week, like guys haven't played together as much. So I feel like you could see kind of the floor of this team at any given moment as well. I mean, the Bears obviously just proved not to be a serious football team, so probably no play for me. All right. And is regarding the drop off from Garendo to Patrick Taylor, I think they view Patrick Taylor as more of a passing down back. So I would think that the drop off would be somewhat significant only because they probably would mix in like a Keyshawn Vaughn or somebody like that, a Banakanda. He's like they would probably mix in more guys. Debo hasn't been getting anything really going on the ground. So, but I mean, it's still the running game. It's not like major, but I do think I did like the way Garendo
I'll be
went as
curious to see
well.
what you and Kerner come up with for props because with all the uncertainty there's probably going to be some value to uncover. So keep an eye on the Action Network app. I'll be looking to follow along there.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. All right, let's get into our Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. All right, so as I mentioned, Week 14 we were 2-4. You got the Rams to come through and the Giants on that 2-point conversion. I was 0-3. And what we do here, if you're new, 2 points for our first two picks, a point for the third, point for the total in our next section. And then if you sweep all those, you get an extra point. You made up 3 points on me. So with my goose egg, so it's 46-31 now. So keep that up. You might make another sweat. Like I think it was you overtook me one year. I jumped out to a big lead. I think it was last year, the year before. But you are up first. Where are you going?
All right, for my first pick of the week 15 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills plus 2.5 at the Detroit Lions. I haven't put this in the app yet. For what it's worth, I'm waiting to see if it gets 3. There's no harm in waiting. Think it might pay for a 3 here if I can get it on the cheap. But I'll be monitoring it throughout the rest of the week. But still like it at plus 2.5, and it doesn't matter for this contest because pushes don't matter. Uh, I've been waiting for this spot to fade the Lions because I've been waiting for a fully healthy offense with a top tier quarterback to face this defense. They haven't faced one the entire year. And this defense with their single high aggressive man is ripe to get picked apart. And Josh Allen indoors is the quarterback to do just that. I mean, we talk about Goff indoors. This Bills offense indoors is a monster, and they should get Kincaid and Coleman back.
Yeah,
Allen, by
Coleman
the way, is
practicing in
not.
full. Coleman
Yeah.
practicing. Yeah.
Yep. Allen 9-2-1 against the spread indoors. That includes the loss last week. 81.8%, covering by 10 points per game. Lions defense still dealing with injuries. And then from a matchup perspective, Bills play a ton of zone, don't blitz. That's what you want to do against this Lions offense. Look, Lions are going to have success moving the ball. They do every week. They're going to have success running the ball. Bills' run defense isn't particularly strong, but that's what you want to do. Bend, don't break here. Get stops in the red zone. And on the other side, the Lions with this man coverage, Allen, they struggle with mobile quarterbacks. Allen's going to be able to use his legs. He's going to be able to beat them downfield. There's going to be explosive plays galore for this Bills offense. And I just think this is the peak of the market on the Lions with one loss on the year. Like, like I said, what elite quarterback have they faced this year? And I mean, and you got to remember they're 6-1 against the spread in one possession games. I think they have their blowout wins stick out in everyone's mind. They blew out Mac Jones, Mason Rudolph, and Anthony Richardson. Uh, So, and with the defensive injuries, the matchup for both teams, I think they're vulnerable here. I think this is a true coin flip game. Last team with the ball, I'll happily take the points here. I think the Bills are going to win. That's my gut feel. Allen, by the way, is an underdog or favorite of less than 3 points, 27, 14, and 2 against the spread, 66%, covering by 5 points per game, 18, 8, and 2 away from home. In that situation, near 70%. And then just to speak to like, is this the time you want to fade these teams that are, have one or two losses this late in the year? Teams with a win percentage north of 90% in the month of December, 21, 48, and 2 against the spread since 2003, 30%, failing to cover by 3.5 points per game. Teams averaging more than 28 points per game with a win percentage of over 90% in the month of December, 8, 31, and 2, 20.5% against the spread. I love this matchup for the Bills offense. I like it for the defense. I think Goff is going to make a mistake or two. And I don't see this Lions defense getting any stops. Give me Buffalo on the road to bounce back after that loss last week.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like if the Super Bowl was Lions Bills, wouldn't you make the Bills a slight favorite? Just because of the quarterback play, like because like it's like they both have just these really good teams, sound all around, but one quarterback can move.
Wouldn't.
I'm not saying the market. I'm saying like you personally.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
make this game a coin flip. So yeah, I would, and the Lions also have defensive injuries. You have to keep in mind. The Bills could be down Douglas. He's having a down year, which matters some. But the Lions are extremely beat up, and but I just like the schematic matchup as well. And yeah, I think the Bills right now are the better team.
Yeah, I mean it's Josh Allen as a dog. It's not really even a, it's not even that hard. It's not that hard of a sell, really. It's, how often do you get Josh Allen as a dog? And like you said,
Indoors, the Bills are
indoors.
better.
Yeah.
They're better in indoor. They're a better indoor team.
I mean, yeah, they haven't, and they really haven't been playing with their full deck. They're very
They're scoring
conservative with
30 plus
injuries.
every week, and they haven't had like
Yeah,
their
half
many
their
of their weapons.
receivers. Like talk
Yeah.
about hard projection. It's like just allocating the snaps to like because Cooper hasn't gone above like 65% yet. Like they still and he got 14 targets I think last week or something ridiculous. He was targeted on 14 of 26 routes. Still hasn't played a snap rate like over into the 70s yet. It's just yeah, this team is this is talk about a sleeping giant. Like I mean, everyone knows what Buffalo is, but I feel like because they just do the same thing in the playoffs every year, they're kind of getting looked over now. But Buffalo, that's the team that you want to beat Detroit because they can do what Detroit does, but their quarterback can move better. And he's not Jalen Hurts, who that brings me to my first pick in the second overall of the week 15 Sunday six pack. Going with the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 5.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. Haven't bet this yet. I don't think it'll get to 6, but it's at 5.5. So might as well hold out. So I thought I wanted to fade the Steelers, and I still do in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, this Eagles team, remember last year, completely different coordinator, completely different offense. They went 10-1, right? They 11 games, and then all hell breaks loose. This year, they go 9-2. The 10th game was against Baltimore, and they win it, so it was like no problem. But if you look deeper, it was a little shaky. They were outgained 372 to 252. A couple missed field goals, missed 2-point for the Ravens. Called it a lucky win. All right, and then they host Carolina, and they get outgained again, and they only win because Carolina drops a pass, like their rookie receiver drops like his 5th pass of the game. I think Philadelphia against this Pittsburgh defense has issues, and I know people are going to kind of be scared off because George Pickens isn't going to play, which I don't expect him to. But this Pittsburgh team, remember, this week they have time to prepare for Pickens being out. They didn't have that last week, and if there's one thing Arthur Smith is actually good at, it's building an offense around and feeding like your non-star players and getting production out of them. Like remember, everyone was mad in fantasy because it wasn't feeding Bijan, it wasn't feeding Pitts, all those guys. So I'm actually not as worried about the Steeler offense. I know they came out really slow against Cleveland, but I think that Pickens, news hit him on a Friday that you already have the install. It's really tough. It's kind of like a starting quarterback who gets like last second, put into the lineup. So they made it work. I thought Jaylen Warren looked good out there. They still have a bunch of receivers. They have 4 tight ends that they can use. So I just really don't think this Eagle offense is in the right state yet again. I think that they're kind of protecting Jalen Hurts, and obviously, Barkley's amazing, but the Steelers, top 5 in adjusted line yards, top 5 in second level yards allowed, number 8 in stuff rate. So they're pretty good against the run out of the backfield. And what do we always talk about with this Steeler D? They're really good against mobile quarterbacks. They play Lamar twice a year. Jaden Daniels in that matchup, 17 of 34, 50% completion when he was completing like 70, 80 every game, 5 yards rushing. Lamar Jackson, 16 of 33. This guy's playing like MVP, barely misses a pass. Can't complete half against the Steelers. Only 4 carries the whole game, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So it's going to be ugly, but Jalen Hurts was pressured 46% of the time. Like he's getting pressured a ton, even with that line, and he's not good under pressure. Just 5.1 yards per attempt, 46% completion rate, a 47 PFF grade, which is 34th. So I just think the Steeler defense that doesn't even need to really blitz to get pressure is going to cause a lot of problems for this offense. And when ugly, the offense will find a way to get it done. I mean, without Pickens, you kind of half of the Eagles' strength on defense is kind of wasted anyway. So and Carolina with Tommy Tremble and Leggett was going up and down the field. So and Wilson is the lowest turnover worthy throw rate. So Pittsburgh here, good bet to win the at least a decent bet to win the turnover battle, which that just doesn't happen against Philadelphia. That's how Philadelphia's been cruising, even with some clear under the surface level issues on their offense. So Give me the Steelers plus 5.5 here. Tomlin is a dog, 62 and 31, 67%. 5-0 this season against the spread. Against the NFC as a dog, 17 and 9, 65%. As a dog against a team with a better record, 31 and 11, 74% against the spread. As a dog by between a field goal and a touchdown, aka 3 to 7 points, 36 and 14, 72%.
Haven't they won all 5 games as an underdog this year?
Yeah. They'll probably be my money line dog too. I was gonna do a different team, but yeah, I think there's something to this with it because I'm watching that over and over, and it's. I mean, at one point, Hurts slid like into a sack. Like he's got no confidence right now or he doesn't know what's going. Like he's not processing the whole field as he really never has, he never really has. But the Steelers are like a defense who can actually exploit it because you have Highsmith back. You have Watt. You have Hayward. Like those guys are going to get after it, and they don't even need to blitz. So they're going to have guys, back in coverage as well. So on the surface, yeah, it looks tough without Pickens, but Russell Wilson's been playing really well. Arthur Smith been coaching really well. I think the Steelers at least get the cover, if not the win.
I'll spoil my total. I don't really have a feel on the side. I'm going to go under, which kind of aligns with the dog. Usually these Tomlin under spots go under as well. And because I am worried about the Steelers offense, I get some of your points, but Russ has been such a deep ball merchant. I mean, last week the offense did not look great without the deep ball. And the Eagles are the #1 defense in the NFL against deep throws. But I do think that the Steelers defense will have success. They can battle with Barkley. Neither of these teams are particularly fast. I think both are going to run a ton. Clock will be bleeding. You'll have, if the Eagles get up, they're so good at just running the game away late with like an 8-9 minute drive. And then you'll have the Steelers, Tomlin in a dog spot. He's going to play conservative. He's going to lean on his special teams. He's going to lean on his defense, play field position. So, I think this profiles as a lower scoring game, so I'll spoil my total. I'd like under 42.5.
Yeah, I was one note on that. I'm thinking about that one too. Any thoughts on because the one thing I am seeing and it does make sense is they're saying Philadelphia. One thing they did have success with in that last game was tempo. So I know they're talking about like maybe increasing that, and then same thing with the Steelers. They're saying they might. Now I don't think they'll have success, but I mean, how much is that? Like, can that hurt? Can that hurt the total? Like, if they're just both inefficiently running no huddle.
Yeah, for sure. But the way that it might make sense for the Eagles to do it to kind of neutralize some of the pass rush. I don't envision the Steelers doing it in this spot. I think that they might in other spots, but without Pickens, you're an underdog on the road. I can't see them going faster. So yeah, that wouldn't be ideal if both pick up the pace, but risk I'm willing to take here.
Where we go next?
All right, for my second pick and the third overall of the Week 15 Sunday six-pack, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers -2.5. So -2.5, -120 out there. I'd go up to -125. I need under 3 here, even if it's up to -125. Panthers quietly covered 5 in a row. This team's playing really well. There's so many bottom feeders in the NFL this year, more than I can remember. This is one that you can trust. Just watch them. They're still trying. They're still having fun. The other teams are trying, but they're just so bad. This team looks like they're enjoying themselves out there. I mean, if you think about it, over the last 3 weeks, they should have beat the Bucks. They dropped pass away from beating the Eagles, and they lose in the last second against the Chiefs. 5-0 against the spread over the past 5. I still think they're a bit undervalued. Now, if this gets to 3.5, that's no longer the case. 3 obviously is a huge number. But this is a horrible spot for the Cowboys. Short week on the road after your season was ended. They had an outside playoff shot, lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. Just look at the way they walked off the field. Now, in a short week, you're going on the road to play Carolina. I could see them being super flat. Cowboys also can't really run the ball. Been a bit better of late.
Yeah, I would give them credit for that. I think they found something in the kid Dowdle.
They have, but they played the Giants. They played the Giants, the Bengals. They played really bad defenses. Now the Panthers aren't a good defense either. The Cowboys might have success running, but it's not an elite rush offense. And the Panthers, what they make you do is efficiently pass the ball down the field through the air. And Dallas is not that. right now. Rush's been the worst quarterback in the league since taking over. 40th of 40 on PFF. He has 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, but 3 big-time throws to 8 turnover-worthy plays. There's been drop picks. He's going to give the ball away into the Carolina zones. I can almost guarantee you that. There's going to be a pick here. And then just look at EPA plus completion percentage over expectations since Rush took over. Bryce Young's 18th. He's basically been Baker Mayfield, plus .088. Rush is 31st out of 32 qualified quarterbacks, negative .030. The only one worse is Drew Lock, negative .034. He's basically been, they're the only two that are in the negative. So he's basically Drew Lock. Dallas D, their strength is pressuring the quarterback. Well, Carolina has one of the best pass protecting offensive lines in the NFL, and Young's been very good under pressure when teams have got it since he came back. Panthers should also be able to move the ball on the ground. Should own the line of scrimmage here against this Cowboys run D. Cowboys also probably without BB. Already lost Zach Martin. You got to reshuffle the interior of the offensive line. BB concussion on a short week. Overshown done as well. This is a horrible spot. Panthers, I think, are playing really well, and their defense is still undervalued. I mean, look at the offenses they played over the past 3 weeks, and they've had a shot to win all 3 games. This is a big step down in class, and because they're just healthier. They were so ravaged by injury earlier in the year, and Bryce Young's playing confident. He's playing well, and I have the I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this exponentially superior quarterback in this matchup with Bryce Young versus Cooper Rush at home in a good spot. I think the Panthers get the win here. Give me Carolina.
Yeah, like I would like
first time favored in 34 games, by the way.
I was about to say the most ironic thing about all of this is they go like 5-0 against the spread, and now you're laying points with them. You're finally come back with them. I think you had him a couple of times in that span, but I was gonna say about Cooper Rush, like I totally agree. I was writing up our Monday night preview, Bengals Cowboys, and I'm on the under. I'm trying. I'm like, okay, like nobody's gonna want to bet a Bengals over under. Like they went like 60 points, like 5 games in a row. It was just ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I just started looking at all these Cooper Rush stats, and I'm like, I could just throw these out there, and this will be convincing. And so that's what I ended up doing. And lo and behold, he throws a pick in the red zone, cancels out some points, and it cashes by 2.5. So. Yeah, Cooper Rush, not very good. I think we were on him. Or at least I was. What was that game against Washington? Can be competent at times, but just so low. Like he's not doing anything downfield. He's not accurate.
He also is just getting rid of the ball so quick.
Yeah.
So the Panthers don't get
pressure
pressure
without the accuracy. Yeah.
The Panthers don't get pressure, so who cares? He's just dropping back, and then he's going to throw. He's going to make mistakes into the zone, and that's. And I think the Panthers will have success in the ground to set up everything else for Young, who's playing really well right now.
Yeah, no, Young looks like a different quarterback. If you haven't seen him, you just remember the old Bryson, you might want to go throw on some quick YouTube highlights of the last 4 or 5 weeks now since he came back. Really, the last 3 games, especially though, he's throwing just some dimes. He's poised.
Top 5 big time throw rate over the past 4 weeks.
Completing throws in the face of pressure. Like, I mean, I didn't know if we'd ever see that just given his stature. So yeah, Bryce Young is balling.
He fixed his footwork. That was part of it. And then he's also confident. Like he was not confident before, and he just needed some momentum because he would just tuck it in the past, and now he has some confidence back there, and he's going up against the Dallas defense that can be had many ways.
Yeah, I think I pointed that out when I was like half joking, but I remember saying a couple of weeks ago, it's like Bryce Young's out there smiling. He's got confidence now. Like he's never doing that before. Getting mad at his teammates. Like he didn't have the confidence to yell at his teammates before. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to join you yet. I still hate the idea of laying points with the Panthers, but they are the better team here. They're at home. And
it's a terrible spot for Dallas. I don't know if they show up.
Yeah. I mean, probably that team is. They seem to like McCarthy though, so I don't. It's a weird dynamic with that team. I can't put my finger on it, but all right. So that was your second. For my second pick and the 4th overall of the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack. Oh boy, Going right back to him. This is going to be a sweat, but the Cleveland Browns plus 4.5 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is another one. Let's see where the line ends up. It's actually been coming down, surprisingly. I guess the books took some sharp money on the Browns, but I got to go right back to him here because number one, I thought they got pretty unlucky in that Pittsburgh game. Just I mean, it's not just the turnovers. I mean, they just missed some easy field goals, and then
Could have a new kicker here at least. Jeez.
Yeah, they could have. And
I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be at this game, by the way.
Oh, dope. This is like your
and I have money. I bet the Browns. They would have been one of my three if you didn't take them.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page here. I mean, it's ugly, but
just say Chiefs will win by 2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chiefs -11 against the Panthers. They win by 3. -13, I think. I don't. It might have been more than that. Against the Raiders, they win by 2. -4 against the Chargers last week. They win by 2. That's their last 3 games. But there's some things I really like about this matchup. First of all, you mentioned Humphreys not practicing, hamstring issue. He gave up 5 pressures on 44 snaps. That's an 11.3% pressure rate. For a starting tackle, you want that to be around 5% tops.
5-6 tops.
5-6, yeah. Replacement level tackles, that's when you're getting to the 9-10%, right? So he was already playing, like you said, very poor, rusty, whatever. Wanya Morris comes in. He's 8 pressures on 48 snaps last week, 16.7%. He's dreadful.
He is so bad.
That's that level of the guy on the Eagles earlier this year. Was it Fred Johnson? I think it was. Like that's him.
That was the premise of my handicap on the Chiefs. I thought Humphreys would help fix that issue because the pressure they allowed off the edge craters their entire offense.
Yeah, and to that point, you got to go. What was it? Week 1, I think, when they tried out Kingsley Suamataia, the rookie. And they might have to trot him back out there if things don't work out because, I mean, they're just out of options at this point. They're just grasping for straws. And he's given up a 12% pressure rate this year, which is, it's just all abysmal. And on top of that, Dylan still got Myles Garrett there. I think he forced a fumble last week, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still playing hard, flying off the edge. But you also have this Cleveland defense. You mentioned in your cap of the game last week on Sunday night that one of the reasons you like the Chiefs because the Chargers tend to be a very zone-heavy defense, and Mahomes can carve that up. Well, against man, it's a little more, touch and go, especially with all the pressure. And Cleveland plays the 4th most man. They played the most man of any team last week, and they did hold Russ Wilson to a season-low 158 yards passing, 6.1 per attempt. Mahomes, 7.4 yards per attempt against zone, 6.4 versus man, 0.15 EPA per dropback versus zone, 0.12 versus man. So he takes a bit of a hit. I like, Hopkins more of a zone beater, Kelsey more of a zone beater. You're probably going to have to, target Worthy a ton, and, he's still a little green. So
the Chiefs have no explosiveness. That's been the Browns' biggest issue on defense. And the Chiefs,
I mean, Worthy, I'm not going to disrespect Worthy like that.
I'm just saying their profile statistically, if you look at their explosiveness, they're like dead last in rushing explosiveness, passing explosiveness. So it's not like this is, they have the potential. But part of that is that Mahomes he can't get time because the pocket is collapsing within 5 seconds, within 2 seconds every single, and now you're going up against the Browns team that can get pressure as well as any
45% last week. But despite blitzing only 24% of the time, they got pressure 45% of the time last week. I mean, at one point, I think the Hansen on red zone was like, the story of this game is the Browns defense. Like they weren't allowing anything. So they're capable of showing up. Just need like one less, like Jameis, just don't throw the pick on the screen, bro. Like the screen. Like I know you said deliver you from pick sixes. You didn't throw pick 6. But like, come on, we can't be throwing picks on screens. Like that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's the only thing I worry about here.
Yeah, he's gonna throw one. Oh, he's like, so I don't know if
but the Chiefs pass D is completely broken, and then you have another injury in the secondary. I mean, they couldn't. The Chargers had more opportunities downfield last week that they missed, and they were without McConkey. And
Stone Smart, baby. Stone Smart.
Yeah, Disley gets hurt, and they were still moving the ball through the air. Yeah. There was guys wide open. There's coverage busts. This, like, Connor shouldn't be in the nickel. Like
Yeah,
there's
he's given up 20 of 23 last 4 games and two penalties and a touch. Like he's just in that when the bigger role is just not they're targeting him. Like
this pesty
he,
has been horrendous since Watson went down. I mean, it's a problem. And uh
yeah.
the
Jalen
the
Watson, that is, just in case people are confused about the Browns, Deshaun, not Deshaun, but Jalen on the Chiefs, the cornerback.
yeah, and now you have who Josh Williams went down. Like you're in like Nazi Johnson is just horrendous.
Judy's
It's
playing
bad.
his like Judy is. I mean, he needs to go say what up to Steve Smith because he's just lighting it up this year.
Yeah,
So
my
yeah,
biggest thing is the Browns are like an effort team,
but they're
and
they're at home against the
so
Chiefs. I
like
would
with the
hope
way that
they,
their schedule is, like they have
yeah,
games where their tackling is so bad, and that's where you
yeah,
see like effort and care show up. If you look at like their best games this year after they, were out of it with Watson, like when they when they hosted Baltimore and won, when they hosted Pittsburgh and won, um, when they went to Philly, thought the effort was there. Now you're getting the one loss Chiefs at home. This this will be an effort game. I think they'll show up.
yeah. I think they want. I think this will probably be their Super Bowl. I mean, they look like they're having fun out there with Jameis. He's the vibes with Jameis are just so much better. But yeah, I mean, with all the he made some mistakes that they still should have probably covered that game. It was just Kadarius Toney then like fumbled. I mean, and they immediately cut
I'm
him. I mean,
sad that they
just
cut Tony. It was a Tony revenge game.
I know. I mean, who needs to see that?
I'm kidding. Very happy he
Yeah.
won't be out there.
But just to put some numbers behind it, I think you mentioned kind of similar trends here, but December dogs in December against favorites that have won at least 9 of their last 10 games, which the Chiefs have. 67 and 42 are the dogs against those teams. 61% against the spread over the last 2 decades. December underdogs against favorites with a winning percentage of 85% or more, 57, 29, and 2. I think that was kind of the one you had. And then Kansas City as the favorite of more than a field goal with Patrick Mahomes since November of 2020, just 19, 37, and 2 against the spread, 34%, including 1-7 with one and 7 with one push this year. So 12% this year. And on top of all that, is the luck rankings game for the second week in a row. Cleveland still bottom 5. They're 29th, so the 4th unluckiest in our luck rankings. Kansas City is the luckiest team, obviously. And so that's a gap of 28. Anything 24 or higher, 128, 76, and 6, 62.4% against the closing line since 2018. So didn't work out last week, but these things, when the luck rankings line up, it tends to be pretty profitable. I think the Raiders Chiefs game on Thanksgiving was also a luck rank game. Nobody wanted to touch the Raiders. I think we talked about it. I think you said you needed 13. It must close probably like 13 and a half, 14, and lo and behold. So shout to Dr. Nick and the Action Analytics team. But yeah, luck rankings, Browns, don't deliver me from Jameis. All types of turnovers this week. Just give me the cover, Cleveland. Plus 4.5. Stuck. Where are you going with the third?
All right, for my third pick and the 5th overall, the Week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers. Let me make sure there's a expensive 2.5 out there still. Yeah, 2.5 minus 120 out there. Buy it up to -2 and minus 125. I'm going with the Chargers here against the Bucks. I personally think the Bucks are the most overrated team in the NFL right now. I know they're 7-6. I mean, can we look at their last 5 wins? Panthers in overtime should have lost. Raiders
I don't want to talk
with
about it. Don't want to talk
yeah,
about it. Don't even
Raiders
want to
last
talk about
week.
it. Don't
The
want to talk about it.
Giants with DeVito, the Saints with Rattler, and the Eagles without all of their receivers and Lane Johnson. That's their last 5 wins. If you go back even further, you get Daniels and Washington, the opener, and his rookie first road start. And then they beat the Lions on the road, which is their one good win they can hang their hat on. They were outgained by like 250 yards, got 7 red zone stops. I don't think this team is good. They've also been very lucky. there's going to be turnovers here, I think, and the Bucks are going to commit them. Baker Mayfield, 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. He has 16 big time throws, 20 turnover worthy plays. Herbert, on the other hand, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, 26 big time throws, 11 turnover worthy plays. The mistakes are coming for Baker against this Chargers zone defense. The Bucks also 21 fumbles on the year. They've lost 5. Opponents are 60% on field goals against them. The Bucks also have been very good in the red zone, which converting touchdowns tends to be high variance. But the Chargers, statistically, they have the best red zone defense. Schematically, they're very good in shrinking the field, using 3 high safety looks and making it very difficult for opposing offenses in the red zone. So I don't think the Bucks are going to have much success there. And if you look from an EPA perspective, Chargers are the best zone offense in the NFL. Bucks, they play man 16% of the time. The only team that plays man less is the Colts at 14%. Oh, and by the way, back to that Bills-Lions. The Lions EPA against man is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on offense. The Bills, luckily, are heavy zone D, but they're and the Lions are like the 7th, 8th best offense against zone. Against man, they are like, you have to create. They're like it's insane how far above everyone else against man. But the Chargers,
probably because of the Jaguars game. Probably because of the Jaguars played man all game. Seriously. Gave out like 84 and then decided to play freaking sit back, just give up nothing. But yeah.
I guess they learned from that game. Let's just not get embarrassed. But from an EPA perspective, Chargers the best zone offense. Herbert is the #1 quarterback against zone. And they've been below average against man all year. I'm also expecting McConkey back this week. That's huge. Against single high looks, which the Bucks run a lot of. In particular, McConkey is up there with the elite wide receivers in the NFL this year. Herbert also has a great protecting offensive line, great tackles. Bucks are going to blitz a lot. Herbert's fine with that. He can beat the blitz. And the Bucks have injuries on the back end. No Winfield is huge.
Yep.
All their other safeties are banged up. Bucky Irving, who makes a huge difference in offense, not sure if he's going to go. So, on the other side, Chargers are also a zone-heavy D. They only run man like 19% of the time. Baker struggled much more against zone this year. So I like the matchup. I like the spot. I think this line should be over a field goal. Like the matchup. Bucks, more injury concerns. I'm assuming McConkey's back. But mistakes are coming for the Bucks. Red zone failures are coming for the Bucks. I think it starts this week. Give me the Chargers to get it done at home.
Yeah, I agree. So this was going to be my 4th if you took one of my 3 that I wanted. And it was funny because I was like preparing for you to like start, diving into writing up some notes on this one and getting them together. And then you took this one. I was like, oh, okay, well, this works out. But no, I agree. I think you nailed it. It's just the scheme difference here. And, and we were, kind of low on the Chargers, these last couple of weeks because they haven't looked good. But this is the matchup for the Chargers here. Ideally, I would love to. I'll probably wait for the final injury report because I do want to. McConkey, not a guarantee. I don't think yet.
He's not. I am counting on him playing. If he doesn't play, Chargers can still win this game. But
they can. He's
at practice going through drills right now. 1 minute ago.
Good. Yeah,
and it's Wednesday.
That's what we need. Yeah, we need McConkey in there because like you already got this way he was catching like 4 balls a game most games. So you just need something. And like the way they're going at running back now, you're not going to get too much. They want those guys to pass protect because you don't want to get Herbert hurt. So you're going to need McConkey in there because if not, it just makes it so much tougher. And Baker always pulls something out of his hat. I mean, he's the one thing I'll say about Baker this year, man. He's some scrambles, man. Like I don't know, like he's out here scrambling these days and like escaping like these. Just like remember that play against the.
But that's not going to work as well against the.
No, it's not because it's his zone. They're looking at him like there's no. Yeah. But it's. I'll give him credit for that. Like that's the part of his game that I think is like okay, it's not the same old Baker, but
yeah, no, that's true. He's definitely playing well, but that's one of the reasons why his numbers are better versus man because of those scrambles.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, when he can kind of use his legs, that's what really unlocks the second gear. But yeah, I think this is a kind of a letdown spot for the Bucks as well. And they're going it's like all the way across. I know Chargers don't have a big home field, but still.
I mean, their last 3 wins have come against the Panthers, Giants, and Raiders. Like,
they got gifted. They got gifted. Like it was like a pick at the. He throws it right to the. O'Connell throws it right to the linebacker at like the 10-yard line. Like and then the next play just next drive just right back off his foot
well, they get gifted that fumble by the Panthers. They don't call the touchdown appeal, and they should have lost that game. But those three teams are some of the worst defenses in the NFL. It was a big step up in class. And like I said, the Bucks, their last 5 wins are jokes. Jokes.
Yeah.
This defense is very vulnerable. Look at what Atlanta's done to them this year, and it's. I think Herbert's gonna have a really big day.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
And he doesn't throw picks.
Yeah, no, that's another key. Like it's the Bucks are like they're very likely to lose the turnover battle in this, which makes it a lot tougher. All right, for my third and final pick, the 6th overall of the week 15 Sunday 6-pack, I'm going with the Seahawks +3, -120. I would pay up to 125 for this as well, but it's only what is it? Wednesdays we're recording this, so I would wait. I think I'm guessing the public's going to be on Green Bay, and this is a primetime game, so I'm guessing probably get a decent, maybe not even juice 3 at some point in closer to game time. But I just think Green Bay is overvalued in this spot. Like
there's a 315 out there right now.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's fine. Yeah. So, listen, I get it. You know, everyone probably wants to fade Seattle. They're coming off, 4 straight wins. And, 2 of them have been against Arizona, which doesn't really tell you anything. And then they had that weird game against the Jets. But I think there's been some really important developments that have happened with Seattle in the last month or so. That are still flying a little bit under the radar to the point where I make this almost a coin flip game. Like I do have Green Bay power rated better, but not significantly better than the Seahawks here. And Seahawks have one of the better home field advantages. It's pretty light because Green Bay long rest. But Seattle's defense, first 8 weeks of the year, giving up 357 total yards, 148 rushing yards per game. They were 21st in EPA per play. They were 26th against the rush in EPA. Dead last in early down success rate against the run. Well, they have that. Ernest Jones comes over, have that really disastrous first game against the Bills, where I think they lost 31-10. Just was not a good game for anyone. But since that game, since week 9, they're giving up just 311 total yards, so drop of about 45, 91.6 rushing yards per game. They're second in EPA per play overall on defense, 5th against the pass, 3rd against the run, 3rd in early down success rate. And that was up from dead last to top 3. And the reason is because they've kind of switched up their whole, linebacking core with Knight, with Jones. And that's allowing them to stop the run with, the 7 guys in the box. And that's allowing their secondary to play better, which is also healthier now. So now you have, the safeties playing at a high level. They're both graded, I think, top 15 in PFF. You got Weatherspoon, you got Woolen playing well. And that's why you're also having success against the pass, because you're able to kind of, sit back a little bit more and not worry about just getting gashed on the ground. So, I mean, we started to see it, and it looked kind of fluky at the time against the Niners, where they didn't really give up much to the Niners offense at all. And, they ended up winning that game 2017 late. And then, they just kind of kept it going since then. And then and that's what you got to do against Green Bay, because Green Bay has turned into a run-first team with Josh Jacobs playing really well, but they're not letting Jordan Love throw it quite as much. Maybe they're worried about the turnovers, but that's also a spot where I think Seattle could win the turnover battle. They've been unlucky in that area, but Jordan Love has a 3.4% turnover-worthy throw rate. That's 28th. Geno is 2.1%. That's 8th. I think they have about the same number of picks. So, that's due for some regression. But another reason I like Seattle is because they started running more gap scheme in their run game, and it just seems to have unlocked that like shaky right side of the O-line all of a sudden, and Charbonnet being in there, all of a sudden they can block it up. And Charbonnet's 3.6 yards after contact, it's like top of the league right there. So I think he's actually a better fit for the scheme than Walker. I think the Seattle offense is a little undervalued. I think the Seattle defense is a little undervalued. Green Bay, really good team, but we've seen them go on. They just 4 weeks ago, they beat the Bears by 1 on the road off the coordinator change, and that was a game they should have lost. And then we've seen them have close games against, solid teams all year. I mean, Houston, they beat the Rams by 5. So I think Seattle at home here can get it done. I think Seattle wins this game. I think Packers just a little bit overrated in the market right now, and I think Seattle can at least contain the Packer running game and force Love to put it up, which is gonna get you some completions and some explosives, but also get you some turnovers most likely.
Yeah, it's unfortunately I've lost 2 straight Seattle unders. There's been a ton of short fields.
Yeah, you got on the right track. I do agree that the defense is playing schematically. It's not just like a matchup. It's like they're actually doing different things that should carry over.
Yeah, not only have they gotten healthier too, like they healthier along the defensive line, changed up their linebackers, healthier along the secondary, and then changed something. It's McDonald, changed some things schematically.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is Kobe Bryant moving in at free safety for Rayshawn Jenkins has made an enormous difference. He was inserted full time there, week 7 or week 8. Massive, massive difference on the back end, allowing McDonald to do more things with his corners. So that's gone a little under the radar as well. So don't mind taking the 3 here. I'll have more in this game later, though.
Yeah, and to put some numbers to it, teams, Green Bay, I know they're they're 3-point road favorites, and what I think is, 2 teams that are not, super far apart, but they're on a streak of scoring 30 plus points, 3 straight games. Teams that do that are 36, 57, and 1, 38.7 against the spread since 2003. So it's another one of these spots where, late in the year, team just looks like it's humming, but tends to be a little bit overrated in the market. So I'll take the Seattle Seahawks at home. That's our 6-pack. Let's see. We got Buffalo. Very good quarterback. This is so we got Josh Allen, Bryce Young, Justin Herbert. I mean, is that
the best I've ever had?
Quality. It's up. It's got to be. I mean, just Allen and Herbert alone. I got kind of the rejects, like the guys that are like just scraping, like kind of reinvented themselves. Russ, Jameis, and Gino. It's kind of like the same guy 3 times, like the veteran reclamation project. So, oh man, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Let's get into our favorite total of the week. We both did not hit our totals last week. I mean, yeah, that Vikings. I mean, the Vikings are just too good. They just kept scoring and scoring and scoring, and even the Falcons got to 21 somehow. And then, yeah, in your game, just a barrage of first half points. Nothing much in the second, but let's try.
There was Kyler threw 2 picks, led to 2 short field touchdowns, and knew it was cooked. So I already gave mine. I'm going Steelers, Eagles under. Where are you going?
I'm going with the Bengals Titans under 47. And this is kind of similar to my handicap for the Monday night game. I just think that the Bengals played a bunch of shootouts versus, it was just 2 elite quarterbacks matching up, and they had these ridiculous totals. And now they're going to essentially be inflated pretty much for the rest of the season. Titans totals probably shouldn't be at 47 against anyone. Now they will have some success on the ground, but they're going to,
that'll keep the clock moving. They play slow too.
Yeah. And they started last week's game. I'm looking, I always look at the transaction wire because it tells a story. I told you a couple of weeks ago, I saw the Jets brought up, Wangu, and I was like, okay, what are they going to do with Isaiah Davis? And like this week, I was like, what are the Titans doing with Odakoya? And then they make Martin Robinson actor. They got 5 tight ends. And of course, they come out first 8 plays, and 9 of the first 10 just hand the ball to Pollard. End up getting a field goal out of it, and just essentially the plan was just to run the entire game as much as they could. They're out of the playoff race. They've probably given up on Levis. He still can't make accurate throws. So, am I worried about the Bengals defense? Not really. Probably more worried about a Levis pick 6, but I think you have some wiggle room here because you look at this Bengals defense against like the non-elite quarterbacks they face. So, they faced Lamar twice. They faced Herbert. They faced Russ and Daniels and Hurts. Good offenses. They gave up 306 passing yards a game to those guys, 9.6 an attempt, 16 touchdowns, 1 pick. But against Brissett, Minshew, Dalton, Rush, Watson, and crazy enough, not that I'm putting him in this category, but his numbers fit. And Mahomes early in the year before when he didn't really have his receiving core together, they're giving up just 161.7 yards, 5.8 an attempt, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks. So a lot of the perception is just coming from they played in like they had the Ravens like I think twice in a month and just all these shootouts. And I think it's going to start to calm down. The Titans, solid defense. They're at home. They actually rate out good in some metrics, but I mean, it's all over the place because they got guys injured, but they did get a Woozier back last week. So, and there's some familiarity here with the coaching staff. So I don't think it's going to be like just a massive score game. And who knows where Burrow's head is at. He's dealing with unfortunate, home invade robberies or whatever it is, like these targeted hits now of the athletes' houses, just ridiculous. So, and you get a 30% chance of rain on top of that. So I just think that this is going to be a run-heavy game for the Titans. Bengals, they'll probably put up their usual mid to high 20s, but I don't think they're going to get in a shootout with this team. And this is also a luck under at minus 8.1. Expect these teams have been scoring about 8.1 points higher than expected. So expect that to regress. And luck total 16-9, 64%. On the season, similar rates dating back to 2018. So take the Bengals Titans under. It's another one. I haven't put in the app yet. You might as well just wait. These totals, they're all the lines are the sharpest on Wednesdays and Thursdays when we record this, and then by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like they'll be soft again. So we might get a 47.5, especially if the rain is not. There's no the forecast lightens up. So I wouldn't be in any rush for this one. But Bengals Titans under for me. Any thoughts?
Don't disagree.
All right, so Bengals Titans for me, Steelers, Eagles under 42.5 for Stuck. Now it's time for our favorite teaser of the week. All right, Stuck. I don't have a real favorite teaser this week. It's been, like I said, weird year, but I know you actually have one. So where are you going?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Seattle through 3-7 at home, and I'm gonna go with already talked about that game. Then we're gonna go with the Commanders from 7.5 down to 1.5 through the 7-3. Commanders coming off a bye, road favorites off a bye with a winning record are like 60% against the spread historically. I don't think Carr's gonna play. What does the Saints team have? Taysom Hill is out. There's no receivers. They can't stop the run. I mean, it's a mess. They've won a couple games under Rizzi because teams can't make field goals. Yeah, I think the Commanders should be safe to win this game. So let's go Saints. Excuse me, let's go Seahawks, Commanders through the 3-7 on both.
Can we just lay the 7.5 here? I mean, like the Saints, they almost lost that game to the Giants. They gave up so many. Giants had like 3-4 chances near the end and end up missing a short field goal, but they had shots at the end zone. Like they could have won that game.
The Giants also had a punt return touchdown.
Yeah, Amir Smith-Marset. Yeah.
And then they had another field goal taken off the board because one of their offensive linemen committed a unnecessary roughness while the kick was in the air. And then they had to punt it. So, yeah, the Saints have been really lucky on special teams since Rizzi took over. I don't mind laying it with the Commanders either.
But it's like the only thing is, I mean, sometimes these teams it's like the Saints are weird. They showed up at home. Remember granted Taysom was there, but they like randomly blew out the Browns like 35-14 that one week. They played the Rams pretty competitively. I think they shut them out.
Yeah, there's no Carr. Remember that offense without Carr?
Yeah, he was the key. Like they were doing it with Scantling even. Like they were still like it was just. But yeah, now that Carr's
he was either Carr or Hill. They're both out now.
Yeah.
There's just not much on this roster. This is the first time the Saints will be catching over a touchdown at home since '99 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it feels a little shaky to lay the 7.5. So I get where you're coming from with the tees, but I mean, Commanders off the bye, unless and I don't even know.
It looks like Lattimore will go too, which will help give their defense more flexibility. He was a full practice today.
Yeah, I mean, against who? What is Hainer? Yeah, this is. Oh man, this will be one of those. This is going to be a weird game, but yeah, it's these teams come out different week to week. It's a week to week league, but I mean, the Saints they just collapsed down the stretch last week. They were lucky to win that game. All right,
they couldn't even run the ball against the Giants, who had no defensive line, no linebackers.
I mean, yeah, they had one really good run And I actually had a Kendre anytime touchdown bet, so I was happy about that. Like that one, just pushed the pile into the end zone. But yeah, Kamara. I mean, I think the workload's catching up to him a little. Or I mean, he's been dropping passes. I know he's playing through some like a wrist or something, but yeah, he just looks. I mean, even his attitude, he's probably checked out a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't look good, man. It does not look good because Drew Lock could not hit the broadside of a barn. And it's just like they just kept somehow he's remained on the field. And next thing I know, he's taking shots to the end zone like the second time. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, want no parts of the Saints. So you got Washington down to 1.5 and Seattle up to 8.5, 9, depending where the line is. All right, now it's time for our underdog money line parlay. All right, we almost got it last week. I actually have hit them back to back. Yeah, I was about to say the Jets freaking blew it. I don't know how, because like I saw most of the like at first I saw it on Red Zone. When I went back to do my rewatch, I don't remember seeing the Jets get stopped for the first 3.5 quarters. And then I'm like, I know the result already, but I'm like, how did they even lose this game? Like it just, yeah, I don't know how they lost that game either. Like I mean, Sanders just hitting some clutch kicks. And well, I mean, first of all, how could why is the Dolphins defense so bad? It shouldn't be this bad. I don't even understand why the Dolphins defense is so bad. And the reason I asked you that, Stuck, is because the Dolphins are going to be my money line dog this week. But like I have no confidence in them to get stops. That's why I'm doing them on the money line. Like I could see Houston even coming out of the bye. I mean, they came out the bye last year and lost to the Panthers with Bryce Young, rookie Panthers. So I'm not scared of the Texans. They're just a sloppy, team that can always lose a game. But why cannot the Dolphins get stops? Like they shouldn't be this bad with the like. I know some like Ramsey's past his prime, but like this, like it just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, they're dealing with injuries, which is part of it. I don't mind the Dolphins. I kind of think that's a sneaky over. Um, Want to wait. I mean, the Dolphins are due for a Rams type explosion.
Yeah, yeah.
Last 3 weeks, they're like 22% on third downs. So,
Tua playing great. Tua playing really good.
Yeah, and Tua's playing well. I think this Texans offense will look more competent, especially early on in the games. I mean, they've been good in first halves, but they needed I was talking about that before the bye. I was like, they need to get to the bye and figure some things out on offense. And you get there's a lot of talent, two talented quarterbacks indoors, and this Texans defense, you won't have Shair, and I don't think Petry's going to play, but that's what I'm waiting on. If you don't have Petrie, they can't really run what they want to run. And then there's either a hole at safety or a hole at the nickel. And Petrie at the nickel just makes a world of difference. So if he's out, I know they might get Harris back, which might help a little bit at linebacker. But without Shair and Petrie, this defense just isn't the same. And then they can be picked apart over the middle of the field, which the Dolphins
can they though? Because like what do you think? Because like the one thing about the Dolphins, and because I was thinking about this over too, but like without Armstead, it looks like he's not going to play, right? They just throw so much underneath. Like they don't even try to go downfield anymore. It's like a whole different offense. Like, you think that they'll still be able to generate explosives with that? Without
I think there's going to be a
Armstead?
couple, but like if they don't have Petrie, there's the Texans have had some busts that I think the Dolphins will hit. Like go back to that Titans game. Think about the Titans aren't an explosive offense, and there's just guys that
31.
there's guys that are just wide open. So
32.
yeah, I think the Dolphins will be able to hit some, but I also think they're going to be able to efficiently move the ball, and I think they're due for some third down regression, which will help them in that regard. So yeah, it's sneaky over. I don't mind the Dolphins as a money line dog piece. I'm going to go with the Colts. I think the Broncos are the best team against the spread. Knicks is 6-0 against the spread as a favorite. I get all that. Who have they beat? I mean, you get the pick six against the Browns, the pick six against the Raiders. That's what flips the game. They have one win over a team with a winning record, and it's the fraud Bucks. That's it. All year. Both teams coming off of a bye here. The Colts are getting healthier. I think Downs will play. They're getting a couple offensive linemen back. I don't think Smith will play at right tackle, but they have their left tackle back. Kelly is back. Bortolini should be back. So that will help. I mean, they were in recent weeks, they were playing with 3 rookie offensive linemen. And the Broncos defense, we'll see on Riley Moss. This would have been one of my 3 if I knew Riley Moss was out. I think Riley Moss can be out. We'll find out today more on his status. But this defense can't do what it wants to do without Moss. They don't have another corner. And yeah, season on the line for the Colts. I think this will be a close game. I think the Broncos are a bit overvalued. I think this should be a field goal. Nothing more. So I bet the Colts. I like them on the money line. All the Colts do is play close games. I think they'll have a shot here.
Yeah, I was about to say Anthony Richardson, he does nothing but cover spreads and put up horrible passing lines. So
Yep.
I can't fault you with it. I'm a little concerned. I don't know. Broncos not really a team I honestly want to fade. They're like they off a bye. They keep evolving. So like now you're getting you are getting the Colts healthy and off a bye as well, but you're also getting like Sean Payton with time and his staff and Richardson. It's gonna be it's gonna be a sweat. But like you said, Richardson, he does nothing but cover in these spots. I mean that Patriots loss they just had to be demoralized. I had the Patriots in that game. Luckily they covered, but I mean 19 play drive to even have a 19 play drive. You know how inefficient you have to be. Like 19 plays down the field. Like for a guy that throws like nothing but 80-yard bombs. Like where are we get like it's gonna be a rough watch, but hopefully he comes through for us. The parlay Colts plus 170, Dolphins plus 135. Because I was thinking of going to Steelers, but you know what? I already took him on the 6-pack, and I do think the Dolphins, like you said, they are running like for as well as Tua is playing, they should break through and actually beat a good team at some point. So Dolphins plus 135, Colts plus 170. Parlay.
It looks like Petrie's out. He might be out for the year. They're contemplating surgery for what it's worth, which would suck because I think that they need him to make a playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Dolphins probably need Armstead. So it's injury. Yeah, injuries are just weird this year though, because I mean, they didn't have him last week for a lot of the game, and I don't know. It's been a weird year injury wise. And then like they're like the Saints they're not ruling out Carr yet. Like no one wants to rule out anyone. It's like, oh yeah, he's not ruled out. Aiden O'Connell comes back from being in an air cast. Now he's like questionable. Like what? Injuries are so weird. But plus 535 is the parlay for our Moneyline Dogs, Colts, Dolphins. Now it's time for best of the rest, the games we did not discuss in any other segment. First up, we got the Jets at the Jaguars. Jags plus 3.5 at home. Might be plus 3 by the time you're listening to this. It's been kind of hovering, going that direction. Total 40.5 and stuck. I'm curious to talk to you about this game because you usually have a pretty good feel of when teams, what the effort level is going to be like, especially at this time of year. If I knew that I could count on the Jets giving me the same effort and sharpness, because they came out sharp against Miami. Like Rodgers was making quick decisions, those good scripted plays. I don't think they failed on a drive in the entire first half. If I could get those Jets against the Jaguars that beat the Titans, and they were my money line dogs, so like I was on them last week, but these Jaguars look horrible. The Titans were just that bad, and like the Jaguars really didn't do anything that great. Maybe a couple of pressures that were good and a couple of Bigsby runs. But I mean, the Jets could win 30 to 7, but are they going to show up in Florida second week in a row? Did they stay out? They didn't stay out there, right?
Concern.
They didn't stay out there, right?
What's that?
Like, they didn't stay out there, right? Like they came back. They flew back, right?
So.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I would lean Jets, especially at 3, but that's what I'm concerned about. What is the effort level? Eliminated from the playoffs, lost another game. I mean, it's crazy. This team is like favored every week. Besides last week, they lose in overtime. They've lost games by like 1, 2, 3. I mean, every time they lose, besides that Cardinals game is close, they could easily have like 7, 8 wins, but they're the Jets. I don't see the Jags being able to do much on either side of the ball. It's Jets or nothing, but I'm worried about just the spot here. But I lean Jets. It looked like they cared last week, but maybe that's just a final gut punch.
Yes.
The Jets are had 3 wins, and they're like favored every week. The Seahawks
Right.
are they're underdogs every week, right? Like
Yeah.
how many games have
Yeah.
the Seahawks been an underdog in a row? Like 9?
I'm trying to figure out like what people have like the Cardinals and the Packers and all these teams power rated. I'm like, yeah, like the Packers, they're good, but I mean, it's like what is this? What are these numbers? Like last week, I think it got to what -3 for the Cardinals or something like that. It's like, where are we getting this? Like, yeah, I'm as perplexed as you are, but I guess it
Eight
was,
in a row. Yeah, Seahawks been
yeah,
underdogs 8 in a row.
I
This will
guess
be
it's just
9.
it's the market perception, like you said. They had the like early in the year, I think they had, as usual, they can't get it into the end zone, red zone issues, and then they've been playing really good football. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, so yeah, no read on the Jets. Yeah, I want to back them too, but yeah, it's tough. And because like then on the other side, you could say, well, Jags are 3.5. If this Jets team is quitting, Jags will just sit back in coverage, make a couple plays, and probably win like 17-13 or something. So yeah, I'll just probably stay away from me. Next up, let's go to the G-Men, Baltimore, your Ravens at the G-Men, 16-point road favorite. Tom, that's the Tommy DeVito effect. What's gonna happen here? Like, is this a sleepy spot for the Ravens, or are they actually gonna do what they should? Because you saw Tommy DeVito last start. I tried to warn you. He can't throw the ball. So like, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, the Giants haven't been this big of a home underdog since the 60s, I believe. They were 23-point underdog in like the 60s against the Cowboys. I don't know how bad that team was. I actually lean Ravens, but I can't. I mean, I can't like 16 on the road. I mean, how could the Ravens not cover? Tucker missed field goals.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants lead the league in 5+ minute drives, so like they could just have a couple drives that kill the game. But like, how are the Giants getting stops? I don't know. You have Tommy DeVito back there. You have more offensive linemen hurt. You can't run on the Ravens. Harbaugh off a bye, very good. Pissed off Ravens team. They did have a sleepy spot against New York. They lost his favorites.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
couple years ago.
Dabo's rookie year when we thought he was like this, just revolution. Like we liked Dabo a couple years ago. Now I don't know. I just don't love it.
Ravens first half. I mean, that's what I would play in this game. But
is it over 8 already? What is it, like 8.5?
9.5.
Yeah, I could see that.
How are the Giants getting stops? How are they moving the ball? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna. I had last week. I had Drew Lock under half a passing touchdown. I think 8 of 12 games coming into that one, the Giants starting QB had not thrown a passing touchdown. So it's like, hopefully I can find that bet for DeVito, and maybe that'll be my way in to this one, because
I lean Ravens, but I'm not in the business of laying 16 on the road in the NFL.
Yeah. You saw. I mean, granted, the Panthers are a different beast. Like, they're actually playing well, but yeah, it's just tough to cover these big numbers. We saw it with the Cooper Rush and the Commanders. We saw
NFL teams don't
Eagles.
care. Like, they'll get up big and then they'll just kill the game.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, probably stay away. Maybe some props. Follow us in the Action app. Last game on the slate that we have not discussed: Patriots at Cardinals. So Cardinals coming off a 3-game losing streak that dropped them to below 500, made it really tough for the NFC West. They're 6-point favorites. The total is 46. It's a luck over, by the way, but also, I don't know, Stuck. I feel like when I watch this Cardinal team, I feel like this Patriots team, in some respects, is a good matchup for them. I mean, the Patriots can't really stop the run. The Cardinals need to get back to that. But at the same time, Cardinals do tend to struggle against man coverage, with the Patriots running a high rate
and blitz.
Yeah,
and that's what the Patriots are going to do.
Yeah, they're off a bye, so they'll be as prepared as they've probably been. Maybe they even had another padded practice. Remember I mentioned that? I guess why I liked them against the Colts, but who knows? But also, I think at some point before the season's up, Drake Maye is going to have one of those games where it's just like, okay, I'm here now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just catch somebody by surprise. I don't know if it's going to be the Cards because they just lost 3 straight, but it could be because their defense it's well schemed, but it's not. You could definitely have some success against it. I'll put it that way. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about the over, and it is a luck over, but I'm worried about the man coverage of the Patriots. I'm getting pressure, and that's when Murray just folds. He's awful against man. And the other side, could the Cardinals defense confuse May? They they do a really good job of disguising things and taking away explosive plays.
Yeah.
So you could make some mistakes here. They show like a lot of these like 3 high looks and morph into a lot of different coverages. So that would be my concern. I haven't had a good feel on the Cardinals all year, so this is hard to pass.
Well, the Cardinals are. I think they are very tough to read because, like 1 week, or like you see them doing all this good scheming stuff and kind of maximizing talent on their defense, but then they have just also some of these boneheaded decisions, like that Vikings game. They were just playing for field goals the whole game. Like, what was that about? And then like they come out on offense and like it's just like Kyler Murray all of a sudden just doesn't has no idea what he's doing. He's just like dropping back and falling off 1 foot and throwing the ball up in the air and throwing arm punts. Like after we're in week 14, 15. Like what? So I don't. They just
he makes no sense to me. I don't
know. None. Yeah. So probably stay with maybe some props with this one. But I mean, if I had to bet it, I'd probably just take the points. I'd lean Patriots. Maybe even take some Patriots money line. I could see Drake May just putting up a big game here out of the bye. All right, that is going to wrap it for us here on the Action Network podcast. Week number 15 in the books. You can hear more of me every week with my guy Sean Kerner, who's killing it in the Fantasy Pros Accuracy Contest yet again on the Fantasy Flex podcast. We'll talk DFS, player projections, props, all that good stuff. And of course, you can hear Stuck talking college football over on the Big Bets on Campus podcast. Stuck is on X at Stuckey2. I am at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next week, let's get this shmoney.
7 weeks left. There, 7 NFL weekends left after this. Let's have a weekend. Cheers.
Do it.